Oh, we're here going now. People heard the tail end of our energy drink discussion. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet and sometime conversations just start. Because Matt has us on an actual loading timer now. That's not for shits and giggles. That's a real thing.
Yeah, well, you're going over, and I'm like, I'm just gonna let him keep going over, and I'm just gonna go live, so we can just talk about energy drinks.
Matt, there's no telling what I could have said in that moment. I could have said any crazy
Yeah,
things
you could have gotten like really racist with it, like goddamn energy drinks
about it.
coming over our borders.
Yeah, really. Hey, energy drinks, it's a conspiracy by the Eskimos. They don't
Yeah,
want you to know.
they turn you
Trust me,
gay.
I've been to some forums. They've opened my eyes about the Eskimo menace. It's either in league with the Amish and the reverse vampires to eliminate the meal of dinner. It's all part of a sinister cabal.
Yeah,
Got to follow the money, I
yeah, they're in
guess.
league with the Illuminati.
Ah, of course. We're a subsidiary of the lizard people. But yes, hello, all 17 of you. Thank you for joining us in this impromptu Monday show. We had to postpone it a day, but it's nice to see that we got so many of our regulars here. We got Space Lord, we got Tevya, of course. We even got some people who we haven't seen on the Sunday show. We got JT Wizzy there, Lucky TD, The Real Manos. So thank you, everyone. Oh, and of course, Venom, too. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for coming and joining us. I know some people can't make our other shows due to commitments, so it's always nice to see a different crew for the show. Brings a different type of energy to it.
Yeah, it means a lot for you to come out on a day where you don't usually do the show.
And also thank you to what is it for coming and chatting with us. We know you have a choice in streams you watch on Monday. In fact, as I look over to the side right here, apparently Bernie Sanders is streaming right now.
Is he a gamer now?
I was going to say, is that the real Bernie Sanders, or is that just some streamer who has very cleverly taken the name? Yeah, okay, it's Bernie with the strokes. Yeah, I'm going to guess that's not actually him, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Bernie's been the one who's owning me in Modern Warfare.
I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, the problem with this World of Warcraft gold is that 1% controls 90% of all the Warcraft gold.
That's the thing. We think he's talking about like the US and everything, but really he's just talking about Azeroth.
The whole time, that's what it's actually been about.
No one's actually, because no one's asked him like, are you actually talking about the US? He hasn't said anything.
Look, it's disgraceful and deplorable that Bethesda actually expects people to pay $100 in this economy for extra rights and privileges in Fallout Wasteland Online. Look, what we got to do is redistribute that scrap, Matt, but by needs and by other stuff. And then we can all craft together is what we can do. But yes, before we started, we were talking about energy drinks. If you follow me on Twitter, which you should, I put out the word there. I'm like, what is the best tasting energy drink? Because I've only ever really had Red Bull, and I never much cared for Red Bull.
You got to give. I'm drinking a Monster at the moment, the sugar-free orange one, and you got to give it a try. It's quite good.
I know there's a lot of flavors for Monster. I know I've noticed that much, that they probably have the market cornered on flavors, at least.
I only stick to the sugar-free ones.
As you probably should. I haven't been able to get out and get Zevia because, I can only get Zevia at one special store, and it's been snowing a lot in Canada, so getting out's been a pain in the ass.
It's been the opposite here in Australia, where like we had those bushfires like completely like ravaged the country, and now like the last week and a half we've had thunderstorms that have flooded the country.
Lovely. Lovely.
There's no in between.
Who did Australia wrong? Did Australia collectively run over that old Romany woman who put a curse on all of them?
That gypsy woman, they wronged her.
Again, Archer tried to warn us about that. I've told the story before. An actual real Romany person was like, yeah, Joel, we really don't like to use that word gypsy so much anymore. I'm like, oh, I actually wasn't aware. Okay, look, I'll try not to use it. Then literally the next comment under that person, I shit you not, said, oh, yeah, you hate that word now, but when it helps you get deals on stuff in the marketplace, you'll be happy to throw that one out. And I'm like, wow, I had no idea. Only on the internet can you get this.
Oh, Jesus.
And on that note, everyone, because we were talking about sugar-free and making healthier choices, we actually have a sponsor for the Comic Multiverse this week. In fact, they're sponsoring, I guess, all the content on my channel for this next month, and that is livefitfood.ca. They're a meal preparation site you can go to. You can order meals for whatever you need, whether you're trying to lose weight, build muscle. I, of course, use them for their keto. I've been eating them for the last week. It's been really good. They gave me 12 meals to start with. They do drinks and desserts. They do everything. They've got all sorts of plans, very affordable. They'll FedEx it right to you. And yeah, I don't have to worry about meal prep this month because of livefit.ca. And I know that what I have and what I'm eating is both healthy and perfectly portioned too, so I don't overeat, because I know that's a problem with me too. Even when I'm eating good, I'm like, well, obviously I'm going to go back for seconds. And they're like, no, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah, so on the right here, on the right of me, you'll see a graphic with all the details that if you want to check it out, you can check it out. If Joel had provided me details beforehand, since I only learned about this 5 minutes ago, I would have done one for the live show, but it'll be in the video version.
Oops. But to make up for you, hey, if you are in Canada, you can use the promo code JoelDaily20, all one word, and you can get 20% off. And in fact, I have $50 off cards that they sent me as well. So I'm thinking I'm going to raffle one of those off to the patrons first, because obviously the patrons should get the first crack. And then I'll probably raffle one off here as well on this show, probably next week. I'm thinking I should make some sort of trivia question for it. Like, you got to answer like a really deep cut question about the comic multiverse.
I'm pretty sure there's like a Twitch thing attachment that I can put up on the screen, and it'll be like a raffle or a lotto or something. I know there's like a spinny wheel thing. So yeah.
I'll do that, and then I will also probably raffle one away either on my Facebook page or on the Discord, because I just remembered we have a Discord. Yeah, I'm bad at my job sometimes. But hey, everyone, believe it or not, it is a comic show. We do talk about stuff, and we do actually have some news here.
We do.
Our first story is a story that actually has been evolving since I put it on, again, because we did it a day late. There's actually been some rather interesting updates to this story, and that story, of course, involves the Birds of Prey movie. Opened this week to a very soft opening. In fact, early on, there were some articles that made me go gee just on their behalf when they're like, oh, it's having an opening similar to like Jonah Hex or Green Lantern. I'm like, you do not want to be in the same sentence as those two.
No, it's the weakest of the DCEU films, as well as I think the DC films in general, like worse than goddamn Jonah Hex.
I mean, worse than Shazam, and Shazam had a weak opening. What I didn't know about this, and what actually put it into perspective for me, is that I assumed with Margot Robbie producing and starring in this one, it was going to have a sizable budget, you know, comparable to Suicide Squad. It's not actually. Apparently, they only made this for about $80 million. And apparently at the time of recording, it's just managed to make its budget back, which, you know, isn't the slam dunk they were looking for and everything, but still it made its budget back, meaning that the story of Birds of Prey is very similar to that of Shazam, which also had a kind of soft opening, which Matt and I much maligned because we liked that movie.
Yeah. Well, what you also got to realize is, well, Birds of Prey had like a budget of like what, 80-90 million. That's before like marketing and everything, and while the marketing on this movie was atrocious, I imagine it probably still cost a fair amount. So after factoring that in, it's probably like 150 million.
Yeah, the marketing of this one was weird, and the fact that we actually saw the marketing change before our eyes and continue to market and like continue to change, where like 2 weeks before they stopped calling it Birds of Prey, they're like Harley Quinn in the Birds of Prey. And then even just today, as we did this, apparently a bunch of the major theater chains are actually changing the title of the movie. It's not Birds of Prey anymore, it's Harley Quinn Birds of Prey, which is what it probably should have been from day one.
Which makes me really happy, because that's what I named my review of the movie.
I saw that. I'm like, man, Matt's being passive aggressive, and his passive aggression predicted the future.
But the thing is, that's what the movie is. It ain't a Birds of Prey movie. It's a Harley Quinn movie.
Here's the thing. I freely admit I was part of the problem on this one. I didn't go see it this week, but that's because I get paid the second week of every month, so I didn't have any money to go out and see a movie this week. So I was part of the problem. But from what I understand, from what you were saying, what everyone else on my timeline was saying, it was all right. It's getting pretty good reviews, all things considered.
Yeah, it's all right. It's definitely got its problems, but yeah, it's just a decent film.
I'm really hoping, or I'm sure they're hoping too, that it's going to have a trajectory similar to Shazam, where it's like, look, it didn't do great in theaters, but it found an audience later on DVD. Of course, Shazam had helped too, that it was a Christmas movie, and it actually ended up coming back in prominence around Christmas time. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, well, it'd be interesting now that with this name change, whether that'll change. But as well as that, because they've changed their names, they need to then put out new posters, TV spots, and everything, and that costs money, and that adds on to that already probably pretty big marketing budget.
There was a lot of good theorizing too, where it's like, why do we think this one wasn't able to do it? Because I mean, say what you want about Suicide Squad, and Lord knows we did. It ended up making back its money, both at the box office and in merch. I mean, if I saw one more Daddy's Little Monster shirt, I was gonna retch. But apparently, they sold a shit ton of those at your local Hot Topic. What do we think of Wiz? Do we think just Birds of Prey wasn't an appealing title? Did Joe and Jane Popcorn just not understand what this was? Or what I kicked around on Twitter is this a kind of late, not backlash because that's too strong a word, but a late reaction to this idea that people have for DC movies now, where it's like, oh, I don't have to see every one now because it's not going to lead to the next Justice League. There's no breadcrumbs I need to pick up on.
It could definitely possibly be that. This is definitely a movie that I need to see the Birds of Prey to see how it ties into the new Justice League or Batman film. It's not one of them, but I also think it's like a number of different things. It's a semi-sequel to the Suicide Squad, and while that movie made a lot of money, not a lot of people actually liked it.
No, a lot of people just saw it once and they're like, ugh, yikes.
Yeah, it's got that version of Harley Quinn in it, and
right.
Again, I don't think people liked that version of Harley Quinn.
And yet she was one of the few things that I heard people say they did like about original Suicide. But you're right, a divisive take on the character at a time, too, when people actually have more options for their Harley Quinn. I, of course, have sung the praises of the animated series up and down to anyone who will listen.
Yeah. As well as the title probably didn't help. Like, the full title probably didn't help. It probably confused a hell of a lot of people. Because I know for a fact, for people who I class as general audience, they didn't know this was like a Harley Quinn film. They just said, oh, it's a Birds of Prey film. And then they would say, oh, have you heard about that new Harley Quinn film? And they'll be talking about the same film.
Oh, see, that's confusing marketing. That's marketing 101. You probably shouldn't do that. And even sadder still, because I think it was Margot Robbie's idea to call this Birds of Prey because she liked the comic. When they gave her a bunch of comics for research, she liked that, and she's like, hey, can we make this next?
It just boggles my mind that they didn't just do the Gotham City Sirens movie. It just boggles the mind. Because Harley Quinn has nothing to do with the Birds of Prey.
That's Hollywood. No, nobody knows nothing. As the chat's saying too, do we give any credence to the internet smear campaign, to which all I can say is hey, the same suspects, and who we're talking about, we don't have to say their names, had their knives out for Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel too, and those movies did fine, which is what makes this such a weird outlier.
Yeah, it's because I was damn sure when this movie was starting to come out and everything that it was going to make a lot of money, because based on Harley Quinn and that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's just very strange that it didn't.
Oh, if I was a betting man, I'd been like, no, of course this is going to make money. Harley Quinn is huge. It has no competition coming out in February and around Valentine's Day, where couples are going to be looking for a date movie they can both enjoy. In many ways, this movie has a very similar release tactic to that first Deadpool, which was also R-rated, which didn't hurt it. Yet some people are saying that being R-rated actually hurt this one.
I think it did. It didn't need to be. It's R-rated for the sake of being R-rated, not R-rated that serves the story.
Right, and then you think. Or no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I can see them now with that rebrand. I can see them now. They're going to do a PG-13 cut for like home media.
Right. Now, you saw the movie and I didn't. What is like the most R-rated thing? What's the thing where it's like, okay, you earned your rating with that? I know there was that cocaine joke in the trailer.
Well, I mean, I could see that being R-rated. Maybe, this is spoilers, maybe like the death of Black Mask, maybe?
God damn it. No,
Yeah.
I already had a feeling with that.
Yeah,
'cause
they kill off the best part of the fucking movie.
Yeah, I hear he actually did a very good job giving Black Mask a personality, something he hasn't had in the comics in forever.
Yeah, well, it's not really Black Mask. It's just Ewan McGregor hamming it up something fierce.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. He can do that. He's earned the right.
Yeah. Maybe his death. Maybe the fact that Harley Quinn, for some reason, has like a real like hard on for breaking legs in this. She breaks like 4 people's legs in this film.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I mean, I guess it's just a cool effect and something to make the audience wince, but yeah, I'll probably see it next week. I'll probably try and catch a matinee and everything. I know those Harley Quinn animated series reviews have been doing really good, so I'd like to maybe do a little more. I know I've experimented doing movie reviews before. No one seems to give a shit, but apparently a lot of people were saying, oh no, guy who does Harley Quinn animated reviews, we'd like to hear what you had to say about this one, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, weird, interesting story. And again, I read another tweet that kind of gave me pause and made me think, where it's like, in a perfect world, every big budget tentpole action movie starring women would not be forced to have to answer or to be the thing that ensures whether or not you'll get any more. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. It's like, why does every major blockbuster with women have to be like, oh well, this is the make or break it one? I'm like, well, you said the last one was the make or break one. No, this is the make or break it one. And then I'm like, oh, because Hollywood is stupid and Hollywood always learns the wrong lessons. And it's like, well, this one didn't do good, so we're not gonna do another one now.
Yeah. Oh, again, this is gonna teach WB and DC the wrong lessons. And I put a tweet out. I could just imagine seeing that trailer house that cut the first Suicide Squad, rocking up to James Gunn's Suicide Squad, all happy that they have a job again.
Yeah, oh no. And that reminded me too. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. A trailer house edited Suicide Squad, didn't they? And that's why so much of it doesn't make sense. God, I hope whether or not this movie was a success hurts that Suicide Squad movie, because I'm very excited to see what they might do there.
I don't personally think it will, because that Suicide Squad's more or less a reboot, although Harley Quinn is in it, so
yeah, that's gonna be weird and interesting too.
Yeah, are they gonna like have to change everything about the character now, or yeah,
well, I guess we'll see about that. But yeah, there's your Birds of Prey thing. I can't talk about it with much authority because I haven't actually seen it yet, but maybe we'll reconvene at a later date when I have more to say. All right, what else do we got going on here? Ooh, some free comic book day news coming down the pipeline right now. Are you ready? Are you ready for Generation Zero, Matt? Well, are you? Are you ready for it?
It doesn't matter if I'm ready or not. It's happening.
Oh, here it comes, whether you're ready or not, which, is the words that Scott Lobdell lives by. I don't care if you're ready or not, I'm coming. Even at a panel with a bunch of people around when I shouldn't be. Because I'm friends with Bob Harris and I can do whatever I want. But yes, Generation Zero is their free comic book day issue. Okay, one more. Written by Scott Lobdell, but really, even if they were giving it away for free, they should be paying us all to read it, because that's the only way I would. But tish, and I'm done. But yeah, so apparently this is going to be taking up from where the Flash Forward series left off. You've been reading it, I haven't.
Yeah, it's been good, but like, throughout the whole thing, I'm there like, why is this happening? Oh, that's right, Heroes in Crisis, and this is like the panic reaction.
You're just cleaning up a mess you made and making other messes along the way.
Yeah, what I find out is really funny about this cover reveal is that it basically spoils the end of Flash Forward, which hasn't even happened yet.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, because someone actually got mad in the comment section last week when we talked about.
So they should.
when we talked about the leaked image of like Wally West sitting on the Mobius chair and becoming like a Dr. Manhattan stand-in, they're like, "Hey, is that a spoiler?" And I'm like, "Hey, don't look at us. DC literally spoiled it today with this image."
Yeah. So I did see a bunch of people when this image dropped. They're like, "What the fuck is wrong? What's going on with Wally?" And then people had to explain what was happening in a book that hasn't even come out yet.
Amazing. Just that is so 2020 DC, isn't it?
Oh god.
So let's actually like try and dissect this picture a little bit. So again, this looks like it's going to be a galaxy hopping 5G door opening thing, because we got Manhattan Wally here. We got New 52 Wonder Woman and a bunch of other New 52 looking characters.
Yeah, so probably Earth 52 from Doomsday Clock.
Right, we got Superman and a bunch of different versions of Superman, because apparently even after we fused Superman, we still don't know what Superman's deal is, so we're going to have to revisit this.
Well, remember in Doomsday Clock, no matter if the universe resets or anything, he's the constant.
That's right, which was a fun idea I like, and I hope they don't fuck that up. I like the idea of him being the center of the metaverse.
Yeah.
We have blue-caped Batman and Robin, which makes me think, oh yeah, we haven't had a Batman and Robin book for like ever, haven't we?
Yeah, they remind me of like the 70s, 80s Batman and Robin. So maybe that's like, maybe that could possibly be that Earth 1985.
Right, which I'm not against that. I would just like to read another Batman and Robin book, honestly. And then up at the top here, we have the original Teen Titans, complete with Cyborg on the team. And I'm like, okay, are we finally pulling this trigger now? Are you finally admitting defeat after almost a decade of being like, no, Cyborg is on every team but the Teen Titans? Are you finally going to put them back together?
Of course not. This is Dan DiDio we're talking about.
Or at the very least, here's an Earth where they all are together, maybe. And all I can think is like, yeah, but doesn't Titans suck now? Because Adam Glass has turned it into a junior Suicide Squad. And everyone tries to tell me like, oh, no, they learned their lesson. They're not, torturing inmates anymore and holding a black site prison. I'm like, oh, good for them. I'm glad they had to learn that lesson.
Yeah, a lesson they didn't have to learn.
Uh-huh. And then up in the uppermost left, we have the Batman Who Laughs, because did you think you were going to fucking escape the Batman Who Laughs? I bet you liked this character when he started, but we're going to make you hate him by putting him in everything.
I have to think that, like Scott Snyder just, created this character for his story, and then DC just, took it and it's like, no, we're going to put this in everything.
Everything. He's the coolest thing. We're going to sell so many statues. Come next year, Batman Who Laughs will be the fifth pillar of DC Comics.
Because there's some things in that he has to be in, like Batman, Superman, stuff like that. But then he just shows up randomly in other things where he doesn't need to be in. And that feels like DC just taking the character. Oh, we'll put him here because he's popular and this will sell this book. That's failing.
But Matt, he's so cool. And he was cool when he started, but he gets a little less cool every time he comes back.
Yeah.
And it gets more and more annoying when we realize that he's absorbed some of the more annoying parts of Batman in the, I'm always right, I'm always have a plan, I always, am 7 moves ahead of everyone else in the chess game that is life. And I'm like, well, now you're not interesting. And your plan is all the same. I'm going to infect people. I'm going to bring the dark multiverse here. I'm going to kill everyone here. I'm like, your plans are all the same.
Yeah, it happens all the time, and all the time you fail.
Yeah, you keep getting beaten too. There's an old saying, I can't miss you if you don't go away, and I think Batman Who Laughs needs to go away so we can miss him.
Maybe the upcoming Encore will get rid of him.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, Matt, because I do believe that's our next story, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Yeah. Scott Snyder Encore. We got that image of Wonder Woman in all the books, and now we've actually gotten a glimpse of what his Superman is going to look like for Encore, and it's pretty fucking sick, bro.
It's pretty sick. Pretty 90s.
Yeah, long-haired Superman with his cape wrapped around his fist, for punching folks, and an arm that looks like Doomsday, meaning at some point Superman ripped off Doomsday's arm and put it on himself.
People assume it's Doomsday. It's not bony or anything, so I'm thinking, and because of the blue, I guess, knuckle duster he has, I'm thinking it's Darkseid.
Oh, right. Yeah, dark and craggy. Yeah, that makes sense. And, it's like, ooh, the red in his eyes. Is that his typical laser vision, or is that Superman doing an Omega sanction?
Yeah.
Interesting. I like that idea, Matt. You might be onto something. We might have to make a gentleman's bet on this one if it's Doomsday or Darkseid.
Hey, we have a pretty good track record of being right so far, so
It's true. It's true. The comic multiverse bump, we guess it and it happens. The chat saying too, the only thing Superman is missing is his beard. It's true. The only way it could be more 90s is if he had a big old beard.
yeah. Although this makes him look more like Conan now.
So yeah, again, the what Encore is kind of coming more and more into focus because obviously Justice League 39 ended with a non-ending because the heroes are going off to do something to try and fix the timeline, which Perpetua has now broken, which will probably lead us into 5G once everything is all said and done.
Yeah, it'll be the new Crisis, which will reset everything back to that first Wonder Woman story, and yeah, we'll go from there, I guess.
But also maybe not for long too, because also maybe all these heroes are going away, or at least Batman is going away because we're getting the guy from 12 Years a Slave to come and write Batman for a bit.
Yeah, well, there was that tease in Doomsday Clock with the 5G stuff where it said something about like Superman goes like away from Earth or something, or Batman goes away from Earth to look for his daughter or something, or
yes, that's
and
right.
that could be why this 5G happens. They're off doing something, and
maybe
their kids have to take their place, basically.
That would be something, or maybe like when tooling around the multiverse hyper time stream, whatever the fuck you want to call it, Batman finds an Earth where he has a daughter, probably with Catwoman, probably Helena Wayne, and he's like, well, no, I want to hang out with my daughter again. I'm gone. Sorry, all my other sons, I'm busy. I love new daughter more. She's my blood daughter, kid. So fuck you, Dick and Tim and Damien. I'm gone.
She's a new character, maybe created by Dan DiDio. So, like, she's good. She's not going to get shot in the head.
There you go. I need to lavish all my attention on this new character. But yeah, that's how I'm seeing it. I'm guessing too, if we've seen a Wonder Woman one, if we've seen a Superman one, then probably the next one's going to be Batman, and we're going to see what he looks like.
I think so. I think on Wednesday we're getting a reveal or something. I know Capullo did a reveal of a piece of art of like a Batman that's a Cthulhu or something.
Yeah, I saw that, the pencil test Cthulhu Batman, and I'm like, I have no idea how we got there, but I want to know how we got to this.
Yeah.
Well, you see, in the dark future world of Earth number 674, Batman had to have sex with a Kraken to save the Justice League. And this is what happened, kids. Talk to your children about Krakens today. It could, what you don't know could save your life.
1 in 5 children are romancing a Kraken.
Right now, check their texts. Are they using new words that you've never heard before? Going down to Davy Jones's locker. It means stuff, parents. We'll tell you more at 11. So yeah, there's your stuff for Encore. It's interesting. It's really weird that they chose to space it out like this, where it's like, okay, have your Justice League have a non-ending. We'll get a new writing team on there, and then we'll just finish this later.
Well, not only that, they didn't particularly spell it out that this Encore would be finishing up. Like Scott Snyder and that had to come on Twitter and all that and say, yeah, we'll pick up this story in Encore. Like that ending in 39, issue 39, it just like ended. There was no, and pick up this book to figure out the ending. And it just like went like this week just went straight into issue 40, which was like new story, new writer,
And you know why that probably is? It's because they're like, we don't know when Encore is going to be done. We know we have to do it, but we don't know when.
Yeah, is this going to be the new Doomsday Clock?
Yeah, or we got to wait for it forever to come out just so you can read books again, just so we can reset and fix a bunch of the stuff we've broken.
Yep.
That's a heck of a thing. Although apparently some books are toying around with that idea. Someone showed me a panel from Justice League Odyssey where Jessica Cruz, the Green Lantern, meets like an older version of herself, and it's like, oh, so some writers are actually screwing around with the idea now that time has been broken.
Yeah, some people are, but it's all in like the books that, for better lack of word, don't matter.
Right.
It's like Justice League Odyssey is not really tying into anything. It's kind of its own little story and its own part of the universe. So I'm guessing that there's no real oversight on those books. They can basically do whatever they want.
I mean, ain't that always the way? Here's the question, and maybe you'll have an answer for this. In Encore, do you think Snyder will finally answer the question, what the hell was in the little box Green Arrow was supposed to hold?
Probably not.
No, they've really abandoned that. That's one of my favorite just dropped storylines of the last couple of years. Hey, Green Arrow, we love you, and you're important, so here's this magic box with a MacGuffin in it that's maybe the kill switch for the Justice League. We don't know.
Seriously, like, what? Well, I'd really love, like, when this is all over, and if it doesn't get brought up again, so we need to like just flood Scott Snyder's Twitter with questions like, what was this? What was this? And hopefully we get an answer.
Next convention, we got to track him down to the bar and just ply him with booze until he tells us. What was it about? What was it all about, damn it?
Do you think it was even one of his ideas, or just like an editorial idea to like give Green Arrow something to do?
The fact that he never referenced it again very much makes me feel like it was an editorial thing.
Yeah.
Very, very much, where it's like, look, we want people to read this Green Arrow book, which was clearly in trouble because they changed the creative team on it like no less than three times.
Yeah, it's like every other volume was a new creative team.
That's what killed the book, the fact that they couldn't get a consistent writer. And I'm like, well, why the fuck can't you find a consistent writer for this book?
Yeah.
He's got a popular TV show, and if they no one has nothing really for my favorite hero.
And now he's going to be a main character in a Bendis book.
Oh, I saw that, and I'm like, you go right to hell.
Hey, maybe Bendis excels at characters like him, like Daredevil and all that, so he might write something really good. Maybe.
I mean, he wrote him well in that Batman Universe series.
Yeah,
I quite enjoyed him there.
Yeah.
But again, you know, Bendis is like, I'm not going to just write a solo Green Arrow book. I'm like, I wish you would, though. But I guess we don't always get what we want. What else do we got going on here? Ooh, is Marvel Studios developing a Secret Invasion series for Disney Plus? This is an article that comes to us courtesy of Comic Book Resources, citing a guy you've never heard of with an article behind a Patreon. So, you know.
Yeah, we haven't talked about it yet, but yeah, all those like the scoopers, those Twitter scoopers, they all have Patreons now that they put their scoops behind, which I just find like so fucking scummy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean,
and usually the you pay it, and the thing is like, oh, might have heard that they're doing this, and well, I heard about that, 2 weeks ago.
And anyone can do it. Meanwhile, when I ever hear something or you ever hear something, we bring it up here on the show for free. And sometimes we don't know anything, and we still end up being right.
Yeah.
If we were smart, Matt, we would take our fun ideas, pay-gate them behind a whole shiny dollar to hear it. Just sitting there with a cyber cup on the cyber sidewalk. Hey, you want to know what's going to happen in this next story? I put a coin in the cup. I've been right before.
Oh, God.
Creative gapping.
Yeah.
Oh, still there, Matt? Did I lose you?
Oh, I think we lost each other there for a minute.
Yeah, I'm getting poor connection on there. Is the stream still up? Are we still good?
Yeah, stream's still up.
All right, that's just weird technical difficulties, everyone. Pay no attention to that. The scoopers heard what I was saying and didn't like it.
Yeah, they used their Patreon money to try and shut us down.
Yeah, the god of the scoopers didn't want you to hear what I had to say. But yeah, I mean...
You can hear what Joel had to say if you go and pay for their Patreon.
Exactly. There you go. That's the trick. Would I like a Secret Invasion style show? Absolutely. Do I think they would do it? I don't know. I know the scooper in question seek to imply that maybe this would be some sort of connective tissue for Captain Marvel too, because obviously we saw the Skrulls and everything in there as well, and this might be a good way to kind of get that happening. And I imagine if they did do that show, every episode would probably follow a different Skrull as they try to ingratiate themselves to Earth society.
Yeah, I'd like a show like the show V. I don't know whether you ever saw that show.
Yes, I saw a little of it.
Either the original or the remake, but yeah, like where the Skrulls sort of come as like a human-like race and sort of like, hey, we're friendly sort of thing, but they're not.
Yeah, because again, The Skrulls in the movies are very different of the Skrulls of the comics, and that is they're actually kind of good guys.
Well,
or at least
it was
the
only
Skrulls we've seen.
yeah, the Skrulls we've seen were good guys. They could always definitely be evil people.
That's true. It could be like, no, these Skrulls who were kind of like, left behind in the Captain Marvel movie, they were good. But back home, Klurt the Super Skrull has taken over, crowned himself emperor, and now they're a bunch of assholes.
Yeah, yeah.
That could be interesting. And then, you would have the good Skrulls versus the bad Skrulls. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah.
Also, my camera is tripping the fuck out again. It's the 60s over here. Down, now. Please excuse me while I kiss the sky. Some weeks it didn't do it. It didn't do it last week. I think I maybe gotta like plug and unplug my camera before we start now.
Yeah, I think so.
Either that or someone go to my Amazon wish list and just buy me a cam link so I can use my camcorder for this now. But yeah, that would kind of be interesting. I mean, obviously there's a lot of interesting outside the box ideas coming from Marvel and Disney Plus, so I'm not, totally thinking it couldn't happen. In fact, for the Super Bowl, while we were away, we saw like some 30-second clippets of some of these shows.
We did, and they all look really damn good.
And very different thematically, stylistically. WandaVision especially, I think we were all kind of not sure, like, what the fuck is this show going to be? And after looking at that 30 seconds, it's like, oh, this is going to be a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's like a combination of all different types of, or all the different types of comedies and sitcoms over the eras.
Yeah.
You got your I Love Lucy's, your Married with Children, your Roseanne's, all those sorts of ones.
And I mean, clearly, I guess the idea we're supposed to glean from this is that after Endgame, after the death of Vision, Scarlet Witch had some sort of psychotic break, and she's using her reality warping powers to create this weird universe for herself.
Yeah, like I imagine it's going to be something like she creates like a suburb or something, and it's filled and populated with things that she's seen from like American sitcom TV and from Sokovia and like her childhood. So you get like all your cliched neighbors that you see in sitcoms and stuff, the nosy neighbor and all that sort of stuff.
Which would be a great way to cast other people from the movies too to come into this.
Yeah, that would be there.
I mean, the thing that I'm sure everyone agrees is the big winner is that we actually get to see the classic comic book costume for a little bit in all its silly glory.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks silly, but yeah, it's great.
It does. I love this kind of like splitting the difference. Luke Cage did that too, where it's like, look, he wore the thing that you like and you recognize. Can we move past this now? And as a fan, I'm like, yes, we can move past this now. Thank you. That was all I wanted. Just throw me a bone and let me know it exists. But when is the first one of those coming out? I know we've talked about this. It's Falcon and Winter Soldier that comes out first.
Yeah,
yes.
August, and then September I think is Eternals, or it might be WandaVision, because I know there's like a big chunk of month where it's like Falcon, Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Eternals, and like The Mandalorian within the space of like a month each.
Yes, Mandalorian is October.
Yeah.
So it's funny to think that this is probably the longest stretch we've gone without a straight up Marvel movie.
Yeah, well, we got Black Widow coming out in April.
It's true. I wonder how that one will track. I mean, it's a Marvel movie. Would it not be a hilarious situation where Black Widow all this time actually does better opening weekend than Harley?
I wouldn't put it past it. I mean, it's an MCU film. It's like a proven brand. So yeah.
True. I think that would be some real salt in Warner Brothers' wounds there to be like, hey, the fourth pillar of DC gets outshined by Black Widow, a character who's only gotten miniseries like the last decade.
Yeah.
A character who we remember exists sometimes and whose actress we're actually kind of moving out of the part at the moment.
Yeah.
To replace her with someone newer, younger, and probably blonder. Because that's movie making, damn it. Also, we've got, the dude from Stranger Things, and he's a crazy Russian Captain America. You'll love it.
Yeah. That's going to probably sell the movie a lot, I reckon.
Yeah, really, just because it's like, well, I got to see what that is. Yeah. I mean, I know what Black Widow is, but I have to see what that is. And inevitably, too, again, we've been theorizing forever that the Black Widow movie is probably where they're going to start planting seeds for the inevitable Thunderbolts, because they made a solid point of showing, yeah, look, Thunderbolt Ross is in this.
Yeah, as well as like in Falcon and Winter Soldier, we're definitely probably getting the Thunderbolts because we've got Zemo, and there's been apparently casting of like other Thunderbolts related characters within that show as well.
We also have a couple around at the moment there. Ghost was a member of the Thunderbolts, and in fact, the second Black Widow was a member of the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, we also got, people seem to forget, Abomination and all those characters are like just laying in limbo, just waiting to be used.
Man, it's going to be a hell of a day when they finally get Abomination out of the freezer and be like, remember me.
I'd love for them to do that. Absolutely love it.
It'd be great. He comes back and he instantly gets beaten by somebody.
That would be pretty great.
Like, after 10,000 years, I'm free. Just knocked aside. Look, there, we dealt with it. Are you happy now? Like the gauntlet in Thor Ragnarok. It's like, but wait, didn't Odin have a gauntlet too? What was up with the gauntlet? Fake.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe that Loki series might deal with that.
That would be fun. I would really like that, actually.
In that Super Bowl trailer, apparently that Loki bit was filmed specifically for that, because they'd only like literally just started shooting like the day before that happened.
And again, the Loki show too. A lot of people are wondering, like, well, what is that? What is that even going to be? Because obviously, Loki's such a broad character, he can do whatever the hell he wants. It might not even be Tom Hiddleston the whole time. We might see Loki take some of his other forms.
I'd like that, yeah. And that little part we got in that Super Bowl, he was wearing like a jumpsuit that had the time cops of the Marvel universe. So they like make sure. So yeah, I guess like time travel and jumping realities is obviously going to be a big part of that show.
Chat brings up two interesting points there. Tevye saying, I thought Zemo was the leader of the Thunderbolts. Yes, originally, but do you really think Disney isn't going to have a character called Thunderbolt Ross and not try and make that connection?
Yeah.
Also, Thunderbolt Ross as Red Hulk was on the Thunderbolts himself at one point, so there you go.
Yeah.
JT Wizzy actually brings up a rather interesting conspiracy theory that I've heard online, too, about this movie in a lot of spaces. I don't know if you've heard about this, Matt, but a lot of people are theorizing that Taskmaster in the new movie might actually be Natasha's sister, and so they might actually fuse the characters of Black Widow 2 and Taskmaster together.
I could see that. I could see that.
Wouldn't be the first time they've done that because, yeah, I will freely admit, Black Widow 2 on her own, kind of a thin character. Anthony Masters, the Taskmaster, really cool costume, really cool power set. Tell me anything about him. Tell me what he looks like under the mask. I thought so. In fact, the few times we do see him under the mask in the comics, I have to do a double take and be like, who the fuck is the guy? Oh, yeah, that's what Taskmaster looks like under the mask. Okay. He so rarely takes it off, and why would you? But yeah, there's your little up-to-dateness there about what's going on the Disney Plus app. Ooh, speaking of apps, this wasn't in the news, but this just hit me. Did you see, what is it, Apple TV? They've got like a bunch of new shows they've started dropping.
Yeah, well, like what?
Mystic Quest with, what is it, the dude from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah, I did see that show. So it's Apple on, I didn't know which streaming service was having that show. That actually looks really good, that show.
It does. I want to check that one out. They got another show on there called Meet the Orangutans, and it's about orangutans, and you follow an orangutan from when he's born in a primate sanctuary and the life that an orangutan goes through. It's like a docu-series, and I'm like, well, fuck yeah, I'm down for this. Let me watch about the orangutans. We need more shows about cute animals.
That's cool. I can imagine the show's going to end on a cliffhanger where he dies or something.
Oh, no. Or he has to join the Simian Initiative. There's a whole other team of cute animals that, like the puppies from Pick a Puppy and everything there that you got to all come together.
Yeah, it's their new crossover show that they're building towards.
And fight cats. I don't mean cats as in like the animal cats, like the cats from the movie Cats.
Yeah, the movie. Yeah, they got to go fight the movie.
Yeah, they have to fight them for, animal freedom and, the honor of animal kind that has been besmirched. But yeah, it's funny, all those Apple TV shows, I'm like, oh yeah, they put a lot of time and money and they're dumping like a bunch of them all at once on a new streaming app. I forgot this was a thing. I guess this is going to happen more and more now as we live in the era, as I keep calling it, the app Cold War, where everyone's trying to one-up each other with content and series.
Yeah, I always kept forgetting about it, but yeah, they dumped like a heap of money on. They got like a Jason Momoa show where everyone's blind or something. I saw, because one of my friends got it. I saw it's called The Morning Show. Had like Steve Carell and everything. I actually really liked that show. It was really damn good. Steve Carell, Jennifer Aniston, who else? Reese Witherspoon.
The sad truth about that is that means there's going to come a time where it's like, yeah, there's all this really good TV no one is watching because it's behind apps you don't own.
Also, I keep hearing about that one called Quibi or something.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Well, I like looked at it and I still have no idea what it is. I'm like, is this just like expensive TikTok? What is it? Because they just kept announcing all these shows that are coming to it. And I'm like, then I saw an ad for it, and it looks like it is just like a TikTok thing. So I'm like, oh, so are the shows like 5 seconds long? What's happening?
But you see, this is also a great time for television too, because that means it doesn't matter what idea you have; it'll probably be greenlit somewhere for a season.
Yeah. That whole Netflix meme where you'll get like 10 seasons and a creative contract with them is coming true.
Thanks for calling Netflix. How does 3 seasons sound?
Yeah, your idea has been greenlit.
Yeah. Welcome to Netflix. There. Hey, how's 5 seasons, 2 specials? Ooh, but don't unionize though, or we'll cancel you. We don't cancel often, but we will.
Or we'll cancel shows that people actually really like American Vandal.
Yeah, really. And then we'll keep shows around, too, where it's like, who watches this?
Yeah, and make movies like Tall Girl.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't believe that. I'm like, this isn't real. This is a joke. This is a joke movie.
This is like a college humor movie or something, is it?
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. This is like a college humor sketch from like 2005.
It's like, no, it's a real drama. It's about being tall is bad. I'm like, what?
Okay. And of course the chat too, talking about all the shows they liked that got canceled from it. Yeah, they canceled the Oa, and they canceled this, and they canceled what was that Straczynski show about people who jumped into other people's bodies?
I have no idea.
Sense8.
Oh yeah. Someone did mention the Oa. I have no idea what the Oa is, but I did see that one scene where they defeated a school shooter with interpretive dancing, and that's all I know about the show, and that's all I want to know about the show.
That show sounds dope as fuck, honestly. Man, it's funny. Again, my mom really liked that show Sense8, and I'm like, oh, who made it? And she was really bummed when it was canceled. I'm like, oh, Straczynski. Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. Everything Straczynski's done gets canceled. Welcome to my world as a comic reader. Let me tell you about all his comic work that got canceled prematurely.
I haven't had a chance because last Friday that Lock and Key show dropped. I haven't had a chance to see it, but as well as that, I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it.
No, I haven't either, because they kind of sprung it on us where it's like, it's out this month. Really?
Yeah, and it's kind of ironic because it spent how long going from like network to network, studio to studio, and then it comes out and everyone's like, okay.
I didn't watch it because I heard mixed things about it, and I actually, again, just in between doing other stuff, I kind of like scrubbed through the first episode, and I'll tell you, stylistically, I'm like, oh, this looks way more Stranger Things than it actually does Lock and Key.
I was gonna say, from that trailer we saw, I'm like, oh, this looks exactly like Stranger Things or like Umbrella Academy, like that same type of like aesthetic look. I'm like, change it up a little bit, guys.
It's a lot like that, and that's a real shame because Lock and Key had a really good aesthetic all to itself, and I'm like, oh, I'm glad you're taking chances on stuff like this, Netflix now, but let's not have them all look the same. At least when they were doing the Marvel Netflix shows, of course they all looked the same because they're in the same goddamn universe.
Yeah.
Unless they want to make that big crossover and say all of these Netflix shows actually exist in the same universe, in which case that's fine.
It's like that TV trope where like all TV shows exist in the mind of that kid in the coma.
Tommy Westfall.
Yeah.
The kid's name was Tommy Westfall, the show was Saint Elsewhere, and the guy who came up with that theory was Dwayne McDuffie.
Oh, really?
Yes, the
Oh,
Milestone
wow.
Static Shock guy. He came up with that.
Yeah, well, it's true. It's
It
true for the
absolutely
Netflix
is.
ones. What'll be the Netflix ones? To the tall girls in a coma, and
Yeah,
these
really.
shows all take place in her head.
Exactly. All in the mind of Tall Girl. And they all have to come together and form the Netflix initiative because everything has to lead to the big team up right now.
Yeah.
All right, 11 from Stranger Things. All right, all these other characters come together to fight the evil. Who's the villain of the Netflix initiative, Chad? Who's the villain?
Netflix themselves, because
Yeah, for real.
they vow to cancel the show.
They take off their mask and they're like, actually, it was us all along. We just love greenlighting shows and we love destroying them at the same time.
Yeah.
We're very famous for that. No, the villain is unionization, is what it is. Look, you have to stop your friends from joining a union because we just can't have that. But you know what we can have, Matt? We can have a 5-issue Juggernaut miniseries from Fabian Niceza coming soon, is what we can have.
Cool. I guess anyone's getting a series now.
So true. It's like, look, did you not show up to Krakoa on the first day? Are you tangentially connected to the X-Men? Well, guess what? You're getting a mini-series to explain where you're at and how you feel about this.
Yeah, I guess it'll be interesting because what route do you think they're going to go with him? Are they going to keep him with the Stone of Sidorak? Or how does that tie into him, like with Krakoa? Like, if he dies and gets reborn, does he still keep the stone? What happens?
Or how does that work?
Yeah.
I know when we last read Juggernaut, which was in those X-Men Black one-shots that they did, they actually left his character in a very interesting predicament that I'm almost certain they will not go back to. But basically the deal is he's like, okay, I'm not really a good guy anymore. I'm not really a bad guy anymore. But I went and fought the cult of Sidorak and discovered, oh, wait, the stone I had was actually one of many stones. And the one that I had gave me super strength, but there's probably other stones with other powers I should go find.
Yeah, they're probably not going to go with that.
They're probably not going to do that. But that was one of those ideas where I'm like, oh, this would be fun for a Juggernaut miniseries. And then we never got that Juggernaut miniseries.
You know what I would like just thinking about a Juggernaut miniseries? So we got Juggernaut, who's like this unstoppable force and everything. I'd like to see, like, because of the shady shit Krakoa has been getting up to, especially with like X-Force and all that. I'd really like if he was like their A-bomb. They're like, okay, we got a situation here that we can't use X-Force, can't send the X-Men. Oh, we'll just drop fucking Juggernaut on it and it'll fuck everything up and just destroy everything.
I like that, and that's like his way to try and like buy passage to the island, because it's like, well, Kane Marco, you're not really a mutant. You just hang out with us a lot, and you awaken your mutant half using magic and mysticism sometimes in some versions.
And it would be really interesting is give Kane like cool characterization if that like he's like, okay, like these guys are like they only use me for this power, they don't give a fuck about me, and like
absolutely,
and this is him sort of like trying to regain back his mutant heritage or something, like trying to
in a way
like his humanity sort of thing.
He's an outsider looking in on mutant culture, and like you let all these other villains in, but you didn't let me in just because I'm like a mutant adjacent villain to the X-Men.
Yeah. Also, are they going to tie him in with Xavier being like his half brother sort of thing?
I would hope so. I would hope they would tackle that side of it for sure.
Yeah, it would be very intriguing to see if they do that, especially since like Xavier's like more or less evil at the moment.
Yeah, he has a new costume too, and by new costume I mean it's his old costume that we put some cool neon Tron lines on.
Yeah, when in doubt, put Tron lines on everything.
Put Tron lines on it. Also, Fabian Niceza is writing this, which does my head in, where I'm like, man, Fabian Niceza, you've been writing X-Men for like how long? Like almost 30 years now?
Yeah, a long time.
Like every era you've come and written something.
Yeah, well, which is good. See, I think he's got a pretty good grasp on most of these characters. He's been in the game for long enough, so he understands them.
Yeah, get to keep the old with the new. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. It's a 5-issue miniseries, which honestly surprised me too, because I'm like, man, everyone's getting a series in X-Men now. How long is this going to be full series? Gonna see what Juggernaut.
If it does well.
Yeah, really. Yeah, don't
He
don't
could
say it
become the
couldn't happen.
fourth pillar of Marvel.
The fourth Juggernaut, the fourth
And we
pillar of.
and we could have X-Men movie and the emancipation of Kane Marco.
I'm fine with this. You joke, but I'm fine with it.
But where it's guising itself as a an X-Men film, but really it's a Juggernaut film.
Yeah, really. Haha. I mean, they already did it with Deadpool. They were going to make an
Yeah.
X-Force movie, but Deadpool 2 just had an X-Force segment in it.
Yeah.
And Juggernaut was the bad guy in that movie, too. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Alrighty, then we got one last piece of news here before we talk about what we read this week. And again, we were talking about comic book legends. Well, we got another one for you. Kirk Busiek is coming back to Marvel, and he's basically doing what they're selling as a sequel to Marvels, but it's kind of its own thing. It's very weird. They're being super vague about what this series is, but it's Kirk Busiek. It's the Marvels. It's probably going to be pretty damn cool. They basically given him a blank check to write about whatever he wants. So there.
Yeah, and it's while Marvel is technically in continuity, this one actually is continuity. Like they've said, it's 616. It's gonna like explain like certain things that span all the decades, sort of thing. Like I like how they explain how it's like there's a big story, but like it's broken up into pieces. It's like, oh, Captain America's over here doing one thing that'll lead into this, and Punisher's doing something that leads into the Captain America stuff, and like stuff like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and again, the original Marvels, many people consider to be like the Kingdom Come for the Marvel Universe. So it's cool to see this getting a sequel or spiritual sequel, because I don't think it's a direct sequel.
No.
Yeah, but that's cool. People in the chat mentioned too. They also announced a Squadron Supreme tie-in for Empire, and also Rom V, who's going to be taking over Justice League Dark, is going to be doing the Thor tie-in. So Empire's looking to get just bigger and bigger. I
kind of thought there would be a Squadron Supreme tie-in to Empire, since they're like the American team basically at the moment, looking after America's interests. America. So people coming to attack America, they're going to be there to, defend it. They did the exact same thing in War of the Realms.
Yeah, that's right. I'm actually interested to go back to that team because, Aaron set them up as a big deal and then kind of put them on the back burner for the last little bit.
He set them up as a big deal, as well as setting up like Coulson, or the return Coulson as like a villain.
That's right. Yeah, who was working for the devil, maybe.
Yeah, it kind of like going against like America's interests in favor of America's interests.
Yes, by working for the literal actual devil. And also, Black Panther knows he's back, but no one else knows he's back.
Yeah, he's kind of like failed to mention that.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where that's going to go, because, they kind of left that hanging for a bit. But, should be good.
Yeah.
All of these should be good. I'm interested in these. I guess with that out of the way, we can hop on over to what we read this week then. And again, I read a lot. I didn't read everything I wanted, but I read a lot.
I did. I read a lot as well.
All right. Where would we like to start this week, Matt?
Well, let's start with Justice League issue 40.
Yeah, sure. The big Robert Venditti premiere issue. I'll let you take point on this.
I thought it was really damn good.
I mean, it's a Superman, Daxam, Krypton-centric story, so basically he's preaching to the choir with you.
We're picking up a lot of the stuff that he did in Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, with Eradicator and all those characters. But the story picks off sometime, after Scott Snyder's run, or maybe during it. Who cares?
No, it's definitely during.
Yeah.
Because Superman talks about outing himself. Alfred is dead. This definitely takes someplace during. But I guess at a time when a Hawkwoman and Martian Manhunter were gone.
Yeah. When just between the skirmishes with the Legion, they fought a fucking Daxamite invasion.
DC editorial, man. Jesus Christ. This just came like, look, it doesn't matter. We're rebooting, we're retconning, we're crisising it all away anyway. Just fucking do whatever. Nothing matters.
So they get attacked by Sodom Yat, the Daxamite's former Green Lantern, who we find out has become kind of a politician, kind of wanting to isolate Daxamites off from everyone, because Daxamites are fucking dangerous since they're basically Kryptonians. And he warns them of Eradicator, who has seemingly taken over Daxam and cloned a bunch of people and made super soldiers with none of Daxamite's weaknesses. So no,
I like the idea of Eradicator being a more solo villain now.
Yeah, well, that's how they set him up in Vendetti's Green Lantern book. He's just like on his own. Like he was with Zod for a while and kind of Zod's lackey, but he's like, fuck that shit. I'm going out on my own.
Because he was a solo villain when he started.
Yeah, and he's a pretty powerful villain as well.
Indeed.
And he's got his super soldiers, and he's coming to invade Earth because Earth is near a yellow sun and it's like the perfect distance, so they'll get all the powers. And as well, Earth is the only place where Kryptonians are at the moment, so hit there first, take them out.
The only thing that can hurt them is magic, and no, we can't call Justice League Dark for help because they're busy.
Yeah, we'll use Madame Xanadu because Robert Vendetti uses her a lot in his Hawkman book.
Does he actually? That's kind of cool.
She was like Hawkman's partner there for a while.
Oh, interesting. I mean, she's a cool character who doesn't get enough play, and I like to Batman just totally cocks up talking to her.
Yeah, yeah. He immediately just like completely misreads the situation.
As Batman is wont to do, I imagine he just kicked down her door during lunch. Hey, Madam Zed, you gotta come help us right quick. So yeah, that's really the long and short of the issue. The only thing I didn't like about it is, when they actually tried to fit it into continuity, because I'm like, no, this just makes it more confusing.
Just don't bother.
Tell your story. Just tell your story and don't bother.
Yeah. I liked that John and Superman got a lot to play with this issue. They did. Sort of talking about each other and how they're similar but also a bit different.
Yeah, we don't get to see them hang out near as much, do we?
No, so it was nice seeing that. And maybe this is what this run will be. It'll be heroes we didn't get a lot of in Scott Snyder's run, whereas in that run it was mainly like Martian Manhunter and Hawk Girl and everything. Maybe we'll get more like
the B team mainly.
More like John Stewart and Flash and everything. Because Flash also had a thing where he kind of like hesitated, or his powers might not have worked very well. Which again kind of a little bit ties into like what was happening in his book recently, where his powers got overcharged.
I was gonna say, I'm like, let me guess, that's a thing from Flash I'm not reading at the moment.
Well, yeah, again, it's that continuity thing where his powers got overcharged, and then the next issue, which was the one I read this week, he got them fixed by Pied Piper.
Oh, God bless you for trying, Vendetti. Try and have it make sense. God bless you. I guess another book we had this week, probably the other big new premiere this week, was, of course, X-Men Fantastic Four, issue #1 from the always great Chip Zdarsky.
Yeah, again, proving that the X-Men are kind of up to some shady shit.
I do like that it's Reed Richards is the first one to say what everyone else has been thinking but has been afraid to say. And he's not even that big a dick about it. He's just like, hey, guys, you're getting a little creepy with your seclusionist sex island that you want to take my teenage son away to. Kind of feels like you've come here to strong arm and kidnap him. What us? No, no.
I like what he says. Like, look, I don't have a problem with my son doing it as long as there's like time. Like, he's a boy now. He will soon be a man. Then he can go. He can make his own choice and everything. But he's like, no. Reed has a timetable. He needs this to happen right now. So that's what makes him suspicious.
Yeah, I do love that fact. And it's like, yes, why is it so important to get Franklin to come to Krakoa? Xavier says, like, oh, well, he lost his god powers, and, this could be bad for other mutants. We need to help him, and in doing so, help anyone else with the problem. Like, but is it really, though? Is it really?
That's what I said on Twitter. He's quick to help this guy who's got, like, Omega-level powers. Would he do the same for, like, Joe Mutant, whose power is, like, creating lightning from his hands or something? Would he help them? And signs probably point to no.
Yeah, really. I like too, Xavier almost becomes kind of like a bit of a skeevy pimp too in this situation too, where it's like, hey, kitty, so like you have a pre-existing relationship with this kid, right? He kind of seemed to have a boyish crush on you. Well, he's a teenager now, and we need some help recruiting him. So if that God-given sass don't work, use that God-given ass, girl. Go. Bring Xavier his money. Go.
You are now our resident mutant honeypot.
Yeah, really? Which is so what it was. And like, that's what's smart about it too, because she's like, look, I know this is important, but I feel bad about it. And she's like, look, I will respect your decision, whatever that ends up being, Franklin. And it's like, oh, is she saying that because she thinks that, or is she saying that because she's thinking that's what Xavier wants her to say? There was a lot of three-dimensional chess in this issue.
Yeah, well, she even mentions, like, again, it's like, is she just saying this just to like play to his feelings? But she mentions about how she doesn't want Xavier to push him into anything he isn't ready for. But again, is that like her just saying it just because Franklin wants to hear it, or yeah?
And you figure, like, well, strong-arming the Richards, that seems like a very dumb idea, and Xavier's not dumb. And it's like, oh, no, but if he comes, says a bunch of dumb stuff, brings Magneto, who pushes the issue, that way he's the one starting the fight with the family, not Xavier. They make a scene, and then because of that, Franklin finds out that his dad messed with his genes, and it's like, oh, no, Xavier definitely planned for that to happen.
Oh, yeah, he totally did.
Yeah, it's a hell of a thing. And then it's like, ooh, now Reed looks like the dick because he monkeyed with his son's genes without asking. just a lot of people one-upping each other in the dick contest.
Even Ben got in it when he's talking with Storm, and Storm's like, oh yeah, the new island's great, it's so safe and everything, and Ben's like, hey, you guys had an island before and everyone died on it, and this just seems like a new version of that, but with extra steps.
Which is a hell of a thing, because Genosha was basically, another mutant Holocaust. So to have the very Jewish Ben Grimm basically make a Holocaust joke.
Yeah.
Is a hell of a thing, but very well done. I just like getting to see the Thing and Storm talk to each other, where it's like, we're the most two level-headed people on our respective teams. Yes, we are. And the fact that we're kind of, taking jabs at each other should say what sort of situation we're in. Also, too, I like Valeria, who only comes in at the last second, where it's like, yeah, I know this story's about you, but look, I have a part to play as well.
Yeah, I'm coming to Krakoa as well.
Hey, did they explain why he's not blonde anymore? I know a lot of people in my comment section complained that he wasn't blonde anymore, and I didn't have an answer. I'm guessing that must have happened in the main book.
Who, Franklin?
Yeah.
I want to say it was, but like I kind of dropped off this Fantastic Four because I just had too much to read at the moment. But last thing I remember, I'm just trying to remember if he was blonde or not. I honestly can't remember.
I think he was when he was Powerhouse, when he came back.
Yeah, I know. Like when, like the first couple of issues when they were like still in that multiverse adventure, he was blonde, or at least like a darker blonde.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this is like him rebelling against his parents.
I guess so, that's another great theme of this story too. This Reed can't help his son with his powers, and he's starting to see his dad as like fallible and everything, and that's really getting to him, which is causing him to rebel. And that's really kind of what the story is about, just blown up to a big superhero level. What happens when the Richards boy rebels against his parents.
Yeah.
And it's a hell of a thing, too, because he's like, look, I was born to two of the most powerful heroes in the universe on one of the most well-respected teams. Oh, I have the power of a god, too. No pressure or anything for my whole life.
Yeah.
And then here comes Xavier in his pimped-out car. It's like, hey, come to an island where you can be a boy forever and nothing has to matter because, you can live forever and you'll never die.
Yeah, only sometimes we'll call you up to, like, go destroy people who are, like saying mad shit about us or something. I thought it would be really interesting because he can create universes. I thought maybe the story was going to go and like, oh, well, maybe Xavier wants him to create like a reality where the X-Men can live, like safe from everyone. And like maybe if Xavier had come to them with that as like the thing, they'd be like, oh, okay, then yeah, maybe we'll do this. But like, obviously Xavier needs him for something else.
Oh, absolutely. He's definitely got plans and plans within plans. Maybe it has something to do with Moira too. Maybe it's like, look, create us potential universes that we can look at, so we don't have to keep burning through Moira's many lives.
Yeah, he'll be like some like surrogate to they hook him up to Moira or something, and they can view her like memories or something, or like universes or something.
That's a cool idea. It could also be like a no. Xavier and Magneto want Franklin for his universe power, so we don't need Moira anymore.
Yeah. Maybe Moira's like going against them. Like you're getting a bit too power mad and arrogant.
Well, we saw in the last Hawks and Pox that they were like keeping secrets from each other, and like the honeymoon was very much over between the three of them.
Oh yeah. I can definitely see Moira being like, yeah, guys, this is kind of wrong what you're doing now. You got Beast running fake news scams and interrogating Guantanamo Bays and whatnot. And like, what the fuck are you doing?
Mutant waterboarding people.
Yeah, eating away their memories and turning people into vegetables and whatnot.
It was for the greater good.
Was it though? Was it?
They had it coming. Which, man, I know we talked about this before, but I actually love Suicide Squad Beast, and I hated all the other evil versions of him. I just kind of like this version where he's like, no, I'm doing it because I'm smarter than everyone. I have coldly and logistically measured the pros and cons of this situation, and this is what I came up with.
I like it too, as well as he's not like just evil Beast. There's like a couple of layers to it. Like he knows what he's doing is wrong, but he has to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And maybe there's part of him that kind of enjoys doing it because it's like, I get to actually enact my intelligence in the world, and people have to listen to me now. Where before, even though I was smart and well respected, people like Wolverine and everyone else and Cyclops never listened to me.
Yeah, he's gone a little bit power mad.
Man, imagine the X-Force coup of Krakoa if they ever tried to do that.
Jesus Christ.
That's happened
Beast could
before.
do it. He could do it.
That's happened before in military nations where it's like, okay, the army has decided they're going to depose the president and take over now.
I'd love to see something like that. That'd be so cool.
That would be a hell of a thing. And again, this Krakoan stuff is going to stick around for a bit, so there's no telling where it could go.
Yeah.
Another book I'm sure we both read this week, Batman 88.
Yes.
The mystery really taking some twists and turns here that I did not see coming.
Yeah, we got a nice kind of smattering of like what this whole perfect crime was about and how the designer approached maybe four villains in Gotham. We got Penguin, Catwoman, Joker, and maybe someone else.
Well, I think they said the Riddler was there too.
Oh yeah, he was, yeah.
Because he's the one telling about, which, man, what a weird but also kind of interesting group of villains to approach. Joker, obviously, he's the biggest one. Mm-hmm. Catwoman, well, because they kind of have an on-again, off-again relationship. Penguin, because he's the richest and most well-connected. And Riddler, because he's the smartest.
Yeah, it's a good smattering of villains. It's not your usual rogues gallery of villains that usually team up.
And I imagine somewhere off to the side, Bane and Two-Face are like, what are we, fucking shop deliver? We don't get invited to the perfect crime?
Bane in his wheelchair after having his back broken by Flashpoint Batman.
You know what? There's a perfect reason why they don't get invited to the perfect crime, because it's like, look, Two-Face, there's a 50-50 chance you might not do what we ask of you.
You might fuck us over.
And Bane, you've clearly been a fan of flipping the table and going home when things don't go your way. You'll just break his back again, and he'll just cut your venom tubes like they love to do. So these are the villains we have. But yeah, Catwoman digs up a grave, and we end up finding a Joker corpse in there, which is like, what?
Yeah, a Joker corpse.
A Joker corpse. And I'm like, is this actually connected to three Jokers? Or is this just like part of a bigger con game?
Yeah, is this something to do with like what Scott Snyder was doing? Because James Tynan's writing this. Is this something to do with that, or like what's going on?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Then of course we get Batman fighting the other assassins, and Deathstroke gets a great bit this issue where he takes Penguin hostage, and it's like, look, I know you don't want even a villain's blood on your hands, Batman, so either let us go or I'll kill him. Can't let that happen. Okay, well then save him from bleeding out then.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I didn't think it'd go there.
Like total Deathstroke moment of like, look, I was gonna cut his throat one way or another. It was just a matter of how deep I cut it.
Yeah, that was great. And then we get to see again more like in these first three issues we've had like a good smattering of like new gadgets for Batman. We get a really cool one where he can turn any car with Wayne technology in it into like a temporary Batmobile.
Very, very telltale Batman game where he drove around in a sports car that became the Batmobile.
Yeah, but I've also loved how there's like on all these new tools, he's got all these new tools for like every situation, but there's always a limitation on them. Like that Nightcrawler thing can't like go into the streets because it's too big and cumbersome. And this tool he can use it on any car with Wayne technology, but it's essentially just still that car. It doesn't have the armor or weapons of a Batmobile. So he's essentially just driving around in a car that's a little bit faster.
Jersey Luck actually brings up an excellent point too as to why those 4 villains might have been chosen. They were also the villains in the Batman 66 movie. Yes, they were. I did not make that connection until you brought it up. Holy shit.
The designer is Egghead.
Oh my God, Vincent Price. Yes, hello, Batman. It was all me all along.
If that turns out to be true,
I'll be like, fuck yeah.
That'd be great.
He is canon. I forget what book he showed up in the background, Egghead, but he is canon, and he does look like Vincent Price.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's Roddy McDowell. It's the bookworm. It was me. Read a book. Literacy day.
And as JT Wizzy, we're getting a new Joker's girlfriend coming up soon.
Yeah, Punchline. I like her design.
Yeah, I liked what James Tynion was saying. It's like, oh, she's definitely nothing like Harley. She has like none of the morals. She's like basically like Harley without the morals or anything.
Right, because even Harley at her worst, she still had redeeming characteristics. She was silly. She was goofy.
Yeah.
You couldn't hate her even when she was doing bad things. And you fully realized that she was like an abused woman in a toxic relationship. So it's like, I hope someone can save her before something bad happens. But yeah, I like that, a Harley who has none of that.
Yeah, I think that's quite interesting. And it'd be interesting as well since Joker more or less like isn't around anymore. Like we haven't really seen him for whatever reason.
Yeah, well, he's in a Hell Horizon and a bunch of other stuff.
So does that mean like she's running everything? Is this like when Joker comes back, he's got the new Harley with him? Does he find her?
Also speaks a lot to Joker's personality too. Is this like a delayed reaction to like, she didn't leave me, I kicked her out, look, I'm doing fine, this is my rebound girl, I'm fine, everything's fine.
I met her on Clown Tinder.
Yeah, I know, right? That's Michael. Where the fuck did you two meet? What messed up dating app did you two meet on? Please let me know, because again, Harley was his psychiatrist. What was this lady?
It was the DC versions of that hench app from Marvel.
Oh God, I love the hench app so much. The hench app is great, and again, to sing the praises of that Harley show, there was a great bit where she like goes to a talent agency, and it's like supervillain, technician enterprises, and the joke is that it's STI. It's like urinary tract infection is their acronym.
Oh, that's great.
I thought that was so funny. I'm like, that's great. That's what it would be called.
That's so funny.
But yeah. Punchline looks cool. Who do we actually think the villain is going to be? Because I have a theory. They are able to speak through people, and they kind of have like a ghostly green font, and they like stopped a sentence on the word pray. I'm thinking Deacon Blackfire, actually.
Ooh, that'd be very interesting. Yeah. I'm
because
just trying
Deacon
to remember,
Blackfire
didn't Batman fight Blackfire recently in that it was a detective book. I think it might have been the one with the Spectre or something. Or that annual where it was underground and he had those kids.
Yes, because we've seen a couple versions of him. We've seen, I think that version, he was the human version. Mm-hmm. But then in Batman Eternal, which Tynion also helped write, we saw a version of him there, and he was a ghost.
Yeah, ooh, interesting. Maybe they combine them.
Right, I'm thinking, maybe it's the ghost version. Maybe he possesses people. But then I'm like, but why would he want to do the perfect crime, though? And, what's his issue?
Yeah, maybe he's just bored.
Yeah, they'll find a reason, I'm sure.
That'd be really interesting.
To make the perfect crime on Batman, obviously, you have to already be a ghost. You have to already be dead.
Yeah, I would actually like it if it just like turned out to be like Riddler just playing his perfect riddle on Batman.
That would be cool too, because it feels like we've gone forever for having a story where Riddler is like the main bad guy.
Mm-hmm. It would go against everything that set up that really awesome Year of the Villain book, but still, it'd be pretty cool.
Well, unless maybe they circle back around and make that part of it where it's like, look, I know I couldn't be the Riddler anymore, so I had to be the designer.
Oh, that'd be really cool. That would be cool.
That's what I am now.
Yeah.
Some Party Pug too saying, what if it's the Architect? Yeah, that would be interesting too if it was the Architect from Gates of Gotham? Because again, he showed up in Batman Eternal for a minute, And the fact that, Batman's trying to rebuild the city right now kind of seems like something that might get under the architect's skin.
Yeah, I could see that. Something to do with maybe the Court of Owls or something.
I don't know if I want that, but, they could make
Hey,
it
the
work.
Court of Owls are like popular.
They are. Not as popular as they used to be, though. They buried that story in that Robin crossover they did, We Are Robin.
Yeah.
They buried that when they literally buried Lincoln March, and they're like, okay, no more of your bullshit. Get out of here. With your maybe I'm Batman's brother, maybe I'm not. Can't have none of that. Oh, the chat had another good one too. Hinge for villains, Vinge. I like that a lot, actually. Vinge. That's good. What else did we read this week? I mixed in some old ones and some new ones, so I'm having a hard time keeping them all together. I had Immortal Hulk Great Power from Tom Taylor.
I've read half of this so far.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
The worst thing I can say about it is that they don't have it in the current Immortal Hulk timeline. They bench it in issue 13. So all the really interesting stuff with Devil Hulk hasn't happened yet.
I was going to ask someone who's actually reading the book what it's like, because I've been enjoying this book so far. I like the idea that Hulk now has the powers of Spider-Man, because that's just so fucking insane.
Well, again, he doesn't use any of them, so
yeah, that's where I've just gotten up to, where he's not really using them. Like, oh, well, why isn't he? I want to see Hulk swinging through buildings and whatnot.
I mean, I won't spoil the story for you. I'll just say a lot of it is missed opportunity.
That's a shame.
And once you finally find out what it's all about, it's like, oh, so nothing was ever really at risk the whole time. Oh, that's disappointing.
Oh no. Oh, is it a dream?
No, it's not a dream, but it's definitely one of those, oh, well, you solved this really quickly and really easily, actually, and there was actually very few roadblocks. And missed opportunity, because I would have loved it if Peter came face-to-face with the Immortal Hulk, who is, again, as I've said before, become a Metal Gear villain in his own book.
Yeah, because that's what I thought the book was going to be about, where, Spider-Man just gets involved in this Immortal Hulk story.
It is not. It's not a horror story. It's a science fiction story. And I'm like, oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, and apparently this is the first in a couple of tie-ins.
Yes, which again I think makes a lot of sense. Where it's like, look, Hulk has never been bigger than he has been right now. Again, was outselling Batman for a little bit. We need to do more Hulk books and brand them Immortal Hulk, but also we can't really do what Ewing's doing because we don't want to disturb his perfect story. So we'll just give it to other people.
It's really weird that these tie-ins are tied into the book, but they're not. It's so strange that usually when you get a tie-in that's for something that's happening in the main book because there's a big arc or something happening, it would have made sense if this happened when he fought the Avengers that time.
Yes, and this is all gonna read as really weird time capsules when it's all done too.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. As you said, missed opportunity. It sounds like.
Feels like they really wanted more Hulk books, but they didn't care how they got there.
Yeah.
Also, shame too for Tom Taylor. Tom Taylor has a bad run at Marvel for doing one-shots.
That's what I was gonna say, because that's what drew me to this book. I'm like, oh, Tom Taylor's doing Immortal Hulk stuff. That's pretty cool. And Spider-Man. He's writing Spider-Man at the moment, which is really good.
You can tell he had a mini-series worth of ideas where they're just just condense it into a one-shot.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, definitely. What else did you have? Because I think I only have one other new one.
I had Darth Vader issue 1.
Oh yes, what is the Dark Lord of the Sith up to this time, and what makes it different from the other Darth Vader series we've been having?
Well, firstly, this is written by Greg Pak.
Cool, I like him.
It's much like the most recent reboot of the Star Wars ongoing, where it's set between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So this is pre-Bespin, post-Bespin Darth Vader. So he's looking for Luke. Since he doesn't know where Luke has gone, since he's just kind of disappeared, he's decided to track down anyone who ever hid Luke or knew about Luke and punish them. And the first place him and his little forensic droid start are Tatooine. They go to the Lars homestead, and the droid has a look around, and that's where they find the graves of Shmi Skywalker, and Darth Vader starts having Nam flashbacks of
Naturally.
going there and avenging his mother's death by killing a whole bunch of like Tusken Raiders, all that sort of stuff, and they gain the attention of some pirates because the pirates saw their ship land and think, oh, well, a lone Imperial ship must be pretty important. We'll go and like raid them, and not realizing it's Darth Vader. So they
live to regret that decision.
Almost immediately, they just get wiped out, and because Vader's like angry because he's back at the place where his mother died and everything, they get it extra bad.
Oh, good. Someone to take my aggression out on.
Yeah. Eventually, they end up going back to Coruscant to where Padme Amidala's like old apartment was, and they look around there and they find like a tracking device thing that the droid is able to like rebound back to where it's like sending off to, because they figure out that Padme or whoever had Luke after Padme died brought them back to Coruscant for like a brief window of time. So they track it to this planet and they kill their way through what they think is a rebel cell, and they find out that Padme is running the rebel cell.
What?
Yeah, it's not Padme. It'll be one of her handmaidens.
No, of course, that's right. But hey, nice use of continuity. We know that lots of people dressed up as Padme.
Yeah. It's even better as well because Darth Vader is actually shocked by this and taken off guard, and it's very rare that Vader is caught off guard.
That's actually very clever.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
I like that a lot, actually. That sounds super clever and super outside the box.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool. Completely different from Charles Soule's series.
I like that. Yeah, you never do see a vulnerable Vader. That's clever and smart.
Mm-hmm.
I keep saying I got to pick a day and I got to catch up on all these Star Wars stories because they sound super good.
Oh, yeah. Well, now would be the perfect time.
Because fresh starts, yeah.
Yeah.
What I guess the last new comic I read this week was actually Daredevil number 17.
I read this one as well.
Yeah, this is a rather interesting kind of issue. It's the fallout of Daredevil and Elektra stealing all that money from the Stormwinds, and they kind of Robin Hood it back to everyone in Hell's Kitchen. But it doesn't make Matt feel happy like he thought it would. He's still dealing with post superhero depression.
Yeah, he got fucked over by Elektra again. He thought he was past all that, but and so he's kind of just bumming around trying to still find his place, and well, she sullied my mission. Does that mean my mission is like all completely fucked, or can I keep doing it?
He asked forgiveness of the mother of the guy he accidentally killed in issue 1, only to discover that she's actually well aware of everything that's been going on, and that like completely rocks him to his core, because he was ready to do what Matt always does in this situation, and that is keep everyone at an emotional arm's length while also trying to assuage his guilt by giving her a lot of money.
Yeah, I really love that caught him off guard, and he kind of had to like deal with it there in the moment and accept her forgiveness. You don't get
your way.
Yeah. And I like that was his punishment.
And again, too, like being the self-hating Catholic that he is, where it's like, no, forgiveness hurts as much as everything else. Just let me self-flagellate myself forever so I can continue to feel bad and justify my actions as Daredevil. I think Foggy actually gets the line of the issue when he finds out what Matt's been up to, and he's just like, Jesus Christ, man, you're addicted to danger. You're addicted to putting your friends in danger. I thought you changed, but you're just doing the same Daredevil shit without a costume.
Yeah, I love that. Foggy just calls him on his shit.
Yeah, and Matt's like, yeah, you're right. And then it's like the street preacher who, again, gets, makes him think of something he never thought of before. And it's like, yeah, all this money's great and a great windfall for this poor community in Hell's Kitchen, but there's no such thing as a free lunch, man. People are going to come looking for that money.
Yeah, or looking to try and take that back. So he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I should probably go and confront the Stormwinds.
And that leads to a great scene where it's a masquerade ball, and Daredevil puts on a mask that looks very similar to the old Daredevil villain Mr. Fear, actually.
I like the idea that he had to put on a more fuller mask, so because people couldn't be seeing Matt Murdock talking to the Stormwinds.
Yes, and I love too where he's like, yeah, being former mayor, people just kind of let me in places.
And it probably helps that he's blind as well.
that probably helps too. And it's great too. I think the Stormwinds, I always enjoyed them, but I think they truly become great villains in this issue because Matt interrogates them and you think like they're going to be like, oh, well, talk to my lawyer. Oh, I'm not talking to you. But no, they are so pompous and so arrogant. They literally tell this random guy in a mask everything about their plan.
Yeah, because they're so arrogant and so self-assured, and there's all while this is happening, they're having like the whole place like locked down and the police called and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, they're just there saying, yeah, oh yeah, maybe we did like turn up the crime rate in Hell's Kitchen to drive down real estate prices so we could buy them and make money. And we're like, what are you gonna do about it?
It's literally a tale as old as time, and I love that like Daredevil isn't prepared for this, where it's like, so no super villainous plans here, no death rays, no Shakespearean blood feuds or anything. No, really, you did this just for money. Yep, just for money. Just predatory capitalism at its finest. And the fact where they're like, look, man, we never cared about Hell's Kitchen. We never cared about you or the Kingpin or anything. You are all just dollar signs to us. Yeah. Now, please fuck off.
Yeah, and when they realize that Matt's probably going to prove a thorn in their side, they decide to call in the man they have on retainer, and that is Bullseye.
They even do it with a bit of a joke too, where they're like, oh, who's that guy we have on retainer? Oh, he comes highly recommended, Lester something. Ah, Bullseye. Which, this is going to be fun. I'm really interested to see how Zdarsky is going to write Bullseye.
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting.
First time we've seen him post the TV show too, and obviously, because we've seen Kingpin and Matt Murdock be such different versions of themselves, I wonder if Bullseye will also be a different version of himself.
It'd be really interesting to see what they do with him. It'd be interesting as well to see if they reference his little role in Valkyrie.
That's right. Yeah, he was trying to kill a god for a minute.
Yeah.
He comes back and he's just Colin Farrell again.
I'd be okay with that.
I'd be fine with that too, because it's been enough time now. It's nostalgic, and people forget he looked like Colin Farrell in the Maleev Bendis era. That's how they drew him. That was their new we're gonna take him out of the silly costume and put him into something more realistic. And given the fact that Daredevil doesn't have a costume at the moment,
well, also Zdarsky would make it great and fun and cool.
I'm sure he would. And again, too, this is kind of like the first big time they've been promising a Bullseye story post the TV show, so I wonder if we'll see any kind of interplay or reference or anything from the show make it into this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be intrigued to see that.
I mean, the fact that they're openly calling him Lester now, where before they never did.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of an interesting take on it. Also, too, again, speaking of Daredevil, Zdarsky shared some artwork where he's like, oh, this is what year 2 of my Daredevil is going to look like, and he's back wearing a costume. So basically we know that by the time this story ends, Matt will be back in the costume, assumedly.
Yeah, well, it's good to know that one guy who comments on every one of my Daredevil videos about how this isn't Daredevil because he's not in the costume or swinging across rooftops will be happy. I'm sure he'll be happy about that because he's back in the costume.
Also, too, did you not read Guardian Devil or all these other stories where he didn't wear... One of his most beloved stories, he doesn't wear the costume until the very end.
I mean, you could argue that, at the moment, he's just wearing his, Frank Miller-era costume.
And even in Frank Miller, the most beloved origin story with him, he also just wore the black sweats the whole time.
Exactly.
The first season of that show, he just wore the black sweats the whole time until the very end. Daredevil has a fun history of not wearing his costume.
Yeah.
Which I think speaks to what a strong character he is, where he just doesn't need it.
Yeah, he's not defined by the costume.
No, he defines the red horns and everything. And it's funny, too, the costume they showed, it's a beautiful shot that they drew of him, where it's basically the costume but they've made some small changes to it. He's tucking his pants in still, which is an interesting thing. Also, too, his arm pieces are just wrapped up cloth that are red. And I'm like, oh, that's an interesting take. And he has more of a defined thing on his chest, and I'm like, oh, those are little changes, but they're cool.
It looks like what he's wearing now, that kind of tactical look, but just red.
Yeah,
with 2 Ds on the chest.
Yeah, again, it's just like, oh, this is comfortable. I'm just going to keep this.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. But yeah, Daredevil continues to be great. Chip Zdarsky is writing one of the best runs ever on the character, which is saying something because the last couple runs were pretty solid too, but this is the one where transcendent. Yep.
Yeah.
This is the hard shit. This is the uncut Daredevil. What else did you have, Matt? Because that'll about do it for me.
Yeah, I had one more book, and that was The Flash, issue 86.
Ah, yes. What's going on in Flashland?
So yeah, this is just after the whole Year of the Villain sort of stuff, where Flash fought the Rogues, who were all souped up with Lex's gift ideas, and at the end of the issue, in the story, Flash became superpowered with the Speed Force, and it became a danger to himself and everyone else. So much so that he almost beat Captain Cold to death.
Oops.
So in doing so, he asked for himself to be arrested and incarcerated along with Captain Cold. And because there's no Iron Heights anymore, they got sent to Arkham Asylum.
I'm glad someone else picked up on that, because I remember I gave Lebdell a bunch of shit for it's like, why would you send him to Arkham? Well, now we know why.
Yeah. So a lot of the issue is just them just Captain Cold and Flash on the way to Arkham. And it's just them two sort of talking with each other, and like Flash tries to say like he doesn't hate Cold, he just wants to help him and everything. Cold's like, fuck you, nerd. And he actually says that.
That's amazing. Look at my beard.
As we learn, Captain Cold has kind of worked out that the Flash is a cop. Like, he knows he's a cop. And it's funny because
I hate superheroes, but I really hate cops.
Yeah, because his father was a cop, and his father was an abusive asshole.
Yes.
It's really funny as well because he thinks because Golden Glider helped Flash during this whole Year of the Villain sort of thing, that Flash is sort of hitting on her. And so he's extra like mad at Flash because he thinks he's making moves on his sister.
That's really cool.
They get to Arkham, and Pied Piper's there. And Pied Piper is obviously not a villain anymore. He's a friend of Flash, and he wants to help Flash, since he's been traveling the world looking at like different noise frequencies and whatnot. So he's developed a way that can ground Flash in this reality, so his Speed Force doesn't like overcharge anymore. The downside being that if he keeps using his speed, he will eventually break out of that and go back to being overcharged. So he's got to be real careful about how he uses his speed, which comes into play when Cold and Glider escape from prison. And he can't go after them because he still needs to help Avery and Wallace, who, if he doesn't help, they'll be trapped out of phase with reality and in pain and everything. So he's kind of got to weigh up the situation. And he ends up saving his friends and letting the villains escape. And then the issue ends with the old Flash from Flash Year 1 coming back in time to warn Flash that despite them saving Earth from the turtle and sort of stopping that timeline from happening, they created a paradox. And not just paradox in name, but a villain called Paradox has arrived. And he ends up killing the older Flash.
He looks a lot like Rogol Zar, doesn't he?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we've seen this guy before. He's like a new villain.
Paradox. Isn't he like a big, gross monster, though?
I don't think so. I think he's on the cover for the next issue, and he kind of looks like the Monitor.
Oh.
Like with the sideburns and everything.
I must be thinking of another new villain that debuted recently where it's like, well, that's just Rogol Zar. That's just another big, dumb, gross monster.
Yeah, it's possible he might be like that. I don't know.
I guess you'll have to come back to me on that one.
Yeah, well, that issue comes out this week, so I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, Flash has been really great, and lots of people are sleeping on it.
I feel like I've been sleeping on that, and Star Wars are the two books you tell me about where I'm like, that sounds great. That sounds like I'd enjoy that a lot.
Flash seems like the type of book that like Joshua Williamson is kind of allowed to do like whatever he wants in. And it works. But yeah, people should be paying attention because it's doing stuff like, oh, we're breaking the Speed Force and we're like fixing hyper time and all this stuff that's like tied into all the stuff that's going on in like Justice League, and people are just like, I don't care.
Flash. I mean, the fact that he is now the most consistent writer on a book from the DC Rebirth era, I think speaks volumes to, I guess, how much they do like what he's doing over there, or else they would have replaced him.
Yeah, they just let him do that. He's had some like up and down issues, but yeah, he's been the most consistent. He even gets like the best artists, in my opinion, with like Howard Porter and like all those guys. Like, the book has consistently looked good.
It's hard to believe he's the only one that stayed consistent from DC Rebirth onward.
It's so strange.
I would wear that as a badge of honor. And yeah, I guess on that note too, we're almost at an hour 30, which is our regular time for the show. So I guess we can start winding her down.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching and listening, especially all the people who showed up live on Monday night with very little notice. I think we had like 30 people at some point, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
As always, if you're a patron, you'll get to listen to this episode first before anyone else. We're going to try and get that out to you right quick before the video goes live Wednesday for everyone else. Also, too, hey, don't forget our sponsor, livefitfood.ca. If you're in Canada, use the promo code JoelDaily20 and you will get 20% off. And if you are a patron, I'm going to be giving away, a code for $50 off. It'll be like a first come, first serve type deal when the episode audio goes live, so be sure to be on the lookout for that if you are one.
Nice.
Anything else to talk about, Matt? Anything else you want to chat up before we go?
Well, I was just thinking about this before the show, but like this coming week, we've got a really interesting comic book coming out, and that's Terrifics issue 25, which is a choose your own adventure book.
Is it actually?
Yeah, it's a full-fledged choose-your-own-adventure comic, and I was thinking maybe I could do like a live stream about that, where the stream votes which path I take through the comic.
That sounds very clever.
Yeah, it looked really cool as well, how they've got it set out, like who do you want to lead the team, and who do you want in this role, and that sort of stuff. It looks really cool, really interesting and creative.
That's a smart idea. I wish they did more fun stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's really solid. I like that. That's a good idea. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled to Matt and mine's social media for when that goes down, and you can check that out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess with that, everyone, I'll start winding it down. Thank you, Party Pug. Thank you, Tevye. Thank you, everyone else who put some bits there and stuff in the jar and some cheers and everything. That's always appreciated. Never expected, always appreciated.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, I guess you can find us all again next time on the Comic Multiverse. Same time, same place, same nerdy shit. You love it, we love it. We're going to do it again next week. So bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.